picked up this. Looks like a Glowforge Plus laser engraver. I just unloaded it. I don't know anything about it. Other than the lady I picked it up from said that she was doing a cut with it and that in the middle of the cut it just stopped. She said she had one of her friends look at it. They thought it might have been a fan. So they disconnected a fan somewhere. I don't know what fan it was. And that's all they tried. So I picked this up from her. It seemed like a lot of people were asking about it, but they're asking what it needed to be fixed and repaired, and she didn't know. So I ended up giving her $180 for this unit. I don't know much about the Glowforge Plus or the Glowforge at all. I have a Omtech laser engraver. I basically just use it for plastic labels, maybe once a year. So I picked this up just hoping clean it up and see if we can fix it. These are some things she gave me when I picked it up. I believe these are her spacers. They're magnets for something. Maybe they should have been installed when we were transporting it. Looks like there's some lens cleaners and bits. From what I could tell, she used it fair a bit, so I'm guessing there's quite a bit of runtime on it. I had a quick look at Glowforge's website. I didn't see much in the way of used parts for these guys. Looks like we have a power cable. So I don't know what it's going to need to fix, but might have to do some aftermarket parts. There's not too much to these laser engravers. There's the high voltage laser tube. It fires a laser beam, and then usually there's some mirrors on the axes. Looks like there's a mirror there. And that directs the beam over here to the carriage. So then this moves and then the beam goes into here and then it reflects it down to do your cutting along the y-axis. And then there's a mirror there that moves this on the x-axis. This is different than the ones I've seen in the past, and that this one, the laser tube, moves along with the axes, which is pretty neat. Looks like it's just steppers and belts on the axes. And here, it's that Glowforge coolant only. So it must be a liquid cooled laser. The one I have currently just uses water and external reservoir. Can't say as I've looked up much on these ones, but maybe it's some type of internal coolant loop. I didn't see hose connections anywhere on here. It is dirty, so clearly it's been used. It does have this tray that folds down on the front. I don't know if that's for a pass-through. I saw quickly on the website that there's like 2 versions, and one version has a pass-through, so you can do longer parts. I don't know if this is that version or not. Certainly you can tilt that down. And then on the back I saw a little slot, but that doesn't mean it's for the pass-through or not. I can't see any way of accessing that. Back here it just looks like a solid piece. So I'm guessing this is not the one with the pass-through. But I think the next step would be maybe we'll have to connect some power up to this guy. What else do we have? I think we have just a power button. I don't know what the tin foil is on the sides. Usually there's some homing switches on these. I don't easily see them. It kind of concerns me every time I go to move this mirror moves a lot. But it does just feel like magnets. So maybe this is just a magnetic thing. It looks like some type of mirror. So is this where it shines in, and this is supposed to sit down on some type of angle? Kind of looks like it. This is kind of spongy too. So you can see that there's like foam, and then down inside there. Looks like whatever the beam comes in, and then I think this is supposed to direct it kinda down in there, but there's just a couple of magnetic tabs on the top to hold this cover on. And it's an aluminum part. It's all machined aluminum, so nice quality stuff. But this wiggly jiggly is okay. Well, that makes that. It just this just snaps on with some magnets. Looks like there's a camera in there, a lens. I don't know if this has a auto zoom, auto height detect. Sometimes they raise and lower the beds, but maybe this raises and lowers itself. It looks like there's a little stepper motor in there. So could be auto height detect. Huh. There's some. This is the carriage that transfers the motion. It's just a GT2 belt drive. It looks like there's a fan pickup on the back. I mean, it's dirty, but there's also some contacts on here. What they're for, I don't know. I guess that's what sends the power. So this must have some data transfer and power to this daughter board card here to do the controls in the head, and that's what those contacts are for. So let's try and get that back somewhat in place before I wreck anything. It looks like it kind of latches in or something somehow, but alright, well, let's plug the cable in and see what it looks like with power on it. I mean, I haven't even seen a USB port on it yet. So I want to get in there, take a deeper look inside. See there's like a control board way down in there. And I see some wires that are taped up, and that's the fan discharge. So I'm assuming that's the fan that she said had been disconnected. I also see up here there's like a reservoir for coolant. So it has some type of internal liquid cooling for the laser tube. So I'm assuming this panel is fairly easy to remove. When I lifted this up, there's a Torx bit screw here. And then there was two more back here. So I popped them out. And then this feels kind of loose, like it lifts up a little bit. Or break anything. Try with the screwdrivers to pop it up gently. Just gonna get this on video for you guys. Yeah, so it sounded like a few clips popped up. Guessing because that reservoir is in there, this is designed to come off fairly easily. Like I say, I haven't looked at any manuals. Never owned one of these before. Don't know anything about it. This is my first glance at it. And maybe some of your guys' first glances as well. This is definitely used. It's pretty dirty looking. I think that's supposed to be some type of glass panel in there. I see, like it looks like it's been rubbed, so somebody was in here cleaning something. Maybe it's a regular maintenance thing. I don't know. Certainly there's lots of smoke and wood debris, so this person used this a lot. Some leftover, I don't know if that's looks like maybe a zero edge or something, or maybe it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. Put that in our bin for now. And yeah, now we can get a better view in here. Here's that nasty looking control board. And then this was the wire that I could see hanging out there. And then there's like mounting holes here, and that's the discharge, fan discharge. So yeah, that's clearly the fan that they removed. Looks like some type of chip mounted to that linear guide. I don't know if that's a temperature probe. Kind of looks like a temperature probe. Get the part number if you guys can see it. Maybe put it down in the comments. One other thing I did want to look at while I was in here was this OEM approved coolant only. It looks like a little reservoir tank. And let me move this out of the way. There we go, it's a better view. There's definitely a pump and a line comes up here. And I'm guessing that's a little flow meter, temperature probe. So if this is low on coolant or the coolant gets too hot, I'm guessing it would stop cutting too. I don't know if you guys can see down in there or not. There is liquid, but it's not very full. Another thing I noticed when I was in here is there's this little wee shim here. Now, to me it looks like it's a factory thing. There's a whole stack of them. It kind of looks like it's been there from factory, but maybe leave it down in the comments. If you have one of these machines, does yours have these shims underneath it? It's definitely for alignment purposes, but you'd think they'd have a better way of adjusting the focus, because most, like my other laser engraver, like you can adjust the mirrors up and down and left and right, and so it doesn't look like you really have to make any adjustments on this machine. It looks like it's all pretty well set and forget, but yeah, those shims are interesting. Okay, so I got the screws out from this side too, so let's see if we can pop this side off. So there's only power supplies under this side, so it might be a little tighter on that other side. Same thing, sounds like there's just some locking tab clips in there. This panel should just pop out. Don't be too rough with it. There we go. Oh, there's that. Okay. The on-off button wasn't in there too tightly. It popped out on its own. See, there's a speaker down there. It looks like a speaker. There's a stepper motor, so it's a dual motor. I guess this would be the Y-axis on this machine. I still haven't seen any homing switches. But maybe it's one of those, like it homes to torque sensor in the motor. There's a cover here. Power supply. So I'm guessing that's the power supply for the laser. And this looks like has a bit more going on to it than just a power supply. I see the push button wires go into it. There's some more control wires. These are probably going to the laser power supply, doing some laser control. And like I said, I haven't looked any of this up, so I could be wrong on all this stuff. I'll keep digging and see what we find out. Certainly, I don't know if you can see it or not, underneath here, I can just make out some cooling fins. So that's a cooler under there. So that must be the closed loop coolant. Or maybe that's just, maybe it's a liquid cooled power supply. Certainly this looks like a tube fitting, not a hose clamp, so there's definitely liquid cooling going on in here. I can't see the liquid in the tube necessarily, but there's no air bubbles or anything. It might be difficult to see. This whole gantry moves fairly smooth. I do hear some binding right there. I can't really see. There's these brackets that hang down all the way to the bottom of the machine. I can't tell if they're like scraping along down in there. Kinda. Looks a little bit like that. But I don't know, I think before I get too much further, I just want to maybe power this thing up. See what happens. I definitely want to clean that because I can't even tell if it looks burnt at this point. It just looks filthy. All in all, it doesn't look too bad. Looks, I don't know if those are fingerprints or something on the inside. Maybe somebody's been in here before. My hands are fairly clean, so I'm not leaving any fingerprints. Some things I also noticed when I was taking this apart is there's like the ribbon cables. So there's a ribbon cable that goes up as the hinge for the lid, and it fans out and it connects to, there's an LED strip along this edge and an LED strip along that edge, and then there's another ribbon cable here attached to a camera. So I'm guessing that this thing has like an app or something so you can monitor it. Pretty neat. It looks pretty well built. The whole thing is, it's not light. It weighs a good, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds-ish. Looking closely at this honeycomb. I know on the Omtech laser I bought, it didn't come with the honeycomb. I bought an aftermarket one though because I kind of liked the results when cutting when I was using the honeycomb. But this has never been cleaned. Like, to me, I guess you wouldn't have to clean it very often, but still seems like it's something that you could clean, should clean. This whole tray just slides out. Well, it's kind of nice. It's got a solid backing so the laser can't burn through anything. You could take it out if you're doing something thicker, and then it has a secondary backing underneath the laser, so you're not going to melt the table that you're working on. But I mean, this thing's a beast. It's heavy. So I don't know if it's just full of wood and soot and dirt, but maybe we'll have a look at cleaning that too while we're at it. I don't know if these lasers like burn the top edges of the metal, but it doesn't look like it's wore down. The best I can tell, it looks pretty flat. All right, let's came with a power cable. But here, let's keep going. Let's plug this in and what's it called? Wait for smoke. Smoke test. Shout out to Matt over at Diesel Creek. I watch his channel a lot. He always likes to do the smoke test. Okay, we're plugged in now. We're not on. This one's for you, Matt. Contact. Well, definitely saw a bunch of air bubbles traveling through that laser. But certainly this, I don't know if this is pressurized or not. Certainly it's low on fluid. You can kind of hear that pump cavitating a little bit on air, but it does seem to be working in the air bubbles out of it slowly. Here's some fans running. Sounds like they're more in the power supply. I took the side panel off and this button's not plugged in, so I don't know what that button does, but certainly it's not a main power button. And I still haven't seen a USB port or anything, so I'm guessing this is going to be a wireless Wi-Fi connection. Hopefully, that's a pretty straightforward process, and the seller didn't do anything there, some custom domain or something, but I'm gonna go download the software and turn on my Wi-Fi and see if we can see it. So after some web searching and looking at the Glowforge website, I kept looking for a software to download, but I discovered that it's not a software you download with these Glowforges. It's they kind of have a web interface for them. So you connect the printer to your Wi-Fi, and it reaches out and connects to the Glowforge servers, and then you log into their servers, and essentially you're connected to your machine. It has its good and its bad. I was kind of hoping for more standard like CNC type controls that I'm used to. I kind of wanted to jog the axes to make sure that they moved freely, and maybe push a home button to have it do its homing routine. But that wasn't how this machine functioned. I was also looking for maybe some diagnostics pages to say what the temperature was of the coolant, or if it said low coolant levels, or laser power, laser life. But all I could really find was this lid open status, and I agreed with it. The lid was open on the machine. But I figured I would just keep playing around with the software and see what I could find. So I created this little design. My intent was to just like engrave the outside of it, just as a really quick test, to have it power on a laser, to have it move around. So in doing this, I was just trying to, how do I home it? How do I set the position of the workpiece? Eventually I closed the lid just to see what my status message would be, and it switched to centering and the machine started moving. And what actually happened here was the head of the machine kept moving around to random spots inside the printer, and there's a camera in the door of the printer, and it kept taking pictures. And eventually, when the laser head was below the camera, it determined that it was at its home position, and that's when it finished the centering part of that and switched to scanning. And when it got to the scanning portion, that's when the camera took a picture. It placed the little icon that I created on my part. When it did its thing, it told me that it was going to take 7 minutes to do this part. So as you can see, the whole image is blue. So it was going to essentially engrave that entire image. I just wanted the outline for a quick print just to test the motion of the gantry and to see if the laser would kick on. I was mostly interested to see if I get any fault messages pop up in this window to track down any more errors or problems with the printer. Not understanding the software, I was trying to navigate how to switch this from a full block engrave to just engraving the profile of this little Glowforge icon that I had. I was also just doing some searching to see what settings and features it had. So they called it a score the image, which is fine. I placed the image kind of centered on my blank canvas, and I essentially asked it to print again, and what it does is it uploads the file to their print servers, and then it generates the G code in the print file. And now it says it's going to take 10 seconds to print. So that's a lot more of what I had in mind for this quick test. Alright, so this is a first print. Let's see what happens. No explosions or... There's definitely lots of smoke, but I think that's burning smoke. This, I don't know what it means, but this button is not illuminating anymore. It went and parked itself. I just temporarily set this cover on. I was going to print because I didn't want the laser burning my eyes out. I'm just going to take that back off. Still a little smoky in here, but I mean, did exactly what I expected it to do. Let me get that in focus. It definitely engraved that part. That was like a 10-second engrave, but no faults, no errors, no warnings. I have a strong suspicion that I need more coolant, because I'm guessing like there's so little in there that I could hear it cavitating when I started up, and I can see air bubbles in the laser tube. You can see it in there. There's no fill line that I can see on the outside, but there is a QR code down there. So maybe I'll clean it up, check the QR code, and see what it says. So, to power it up, it homed itself. I was able to connect to it with the through the setup software and online. The coolant does sound like it's cavitating, so there's definitely a low coolant thing. This board is filthy dirty. Not sure if that affects anything. But I did have the focus head apart and off the machine. I put it back in. I had it engrave this little symbol. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. Now I haven't done a big job. I haven't attempted to cut, so I don't know if the laser's at full power, not full power. So we got to figure out the next steps with this machine. Just here at the home studio right now, so I don't really want to do a long cut or print or anything. Certainly I need the exhaust fan put back in here and to vent this outside to do a longer cut. And certainly don't need that for any long-term use. So that kind of wraps up my first impressions of this. I bought it, it powered up, it functioned. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have one of these machines? I did find the software was a big letdown. I do not like the cloud-based aspect of it. I am much happier with like the laser Gerbil firmware interface of my Omtech laser. I like to be able to jog axes, to have it manually home, to manually offset things. The software for this, use the camera in the lid to take a picture of the material you were about to engrave or cut, and then you moved your cut or engrave around based on that. Not really my thing. It definitely seems like a more like a basic user functionality than an advanced user functionality. It's a pretty nice machine. I could see a lot of more basic users wanting it because of its high powered and simplicity to use. But with the diagnostics of it, she said it didn't work, so I wanted to jog motors around, check limit switches, just read diagnostics. It doesn't seem like there's any of that, and if it didn't happen to connect to the cloud, there'd be nothing. There's no status indicators. So at the end of the day, it is just a laser engraver, a couple of stepper motors, homing routine. The camera in it's nice. It does have the autofocus laser feature, which I don't know if I could integrate into like a separate controller if I went with like a Gerbil laser firmware like my Omtech. I'm sure that autofocus laser thing would not be an easy thing to upgrade, but controlling the steppers and running the coolant pump, that'd be a fairly easy transition. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should I try and gut the brains of this? Should I just clean it up? Definitely I'm going to do the exhaust fan, give it a good cleaning, and I'm going to do some longer engraving, some cuts on some thicker materials, push it around a little bit, see if any other issues come up. This is Jeff from Edsgn Automation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.